I think we're live. Hopefully this webcam and the built-in microphone are working okay. It's been a long time since I've done any sort of live video for you guys. Maybe as you can tell, I'm actually not feeling really well. I've been sick now for about 8 days. I've lost a ton of weight. I haven't been able to work out at all. I haven't been eating well. I've just had all kinds of sickness going on. It's just kind of going around in this community. So pardon my appearance. I'm sick. I don't feel well. And it's kind of slowed the progress down of the Suunto 7 review and everything. But just wanted to kind of give you guys a couple of updates. So this is going to be a live stream here where I can kind of look over here at my computer and see comments. So if you want to comment and ask any questions during the live stream, I'll try to get to as many of them as possible. But wanted to give you guys kind of an update of the Suunto 7. So for those of you who don't know, the Suunto 7 is Suunto's latest and greatest GPS watch and fitness tracker rocking Wear OS, so Android Wear. It's kind of, in our opinion so far, if you're someone who is heavily invested into the Google ecosystem, you have an Android phone, you want an Android watch that also does a good job with GPS tracking and heart rate tracking and all of that kind of stuff. This is kind of stacking up so far in our review. We're only about halfway through, but this is stacking up to probably be by far the best option on the market for you guys. So there's some things about this that we really have loved so far in our process, and some things that have been, a mixed bag, if you want to call it that. But yeah, so we've basically have finished up the cardio testing portion of our review. And now when I get better here, hopefully in the next few days, I'll be able to begin testing it out in the gym and seeing how it holds up as a gym fitness tracker. It's gym profiles, so strength training, CrossFit style exercises, some jump rope, leg stuff, just kind of testing it all out to see how it performs in a gym scenario as opposed to all the cardio stuff that we've already done with this. But I gotta say that Suunto's done a great job in terms of incorporating their own proprietary software, their own applications and everything in conjunction with Wear OS. So I really like the Suunto application, what I've seen of it so far, compared to a lot of the competition that you have out there from Fitbit, Garmin, or even Strava. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing from Suunto. In my opinion so far, this is a massive improvement over some of the other more recent watches that we've reviewed from them in the last couple of years. So excited to kind of dive into this watch for the remainder of the review process and bring you guys kind of the full review here, hopefully in a week or two as I get better from my sickness. So as you can see, it's a big watch. It's chunky, as I mentioned on my kind of unboxing, and we haven't changed our mind about that. It's a little bit heavier, a little bit bigger than I would have liked, especially when you compare it against something like the Apple Watch. I mean, this is just massive compared to the Apple Watch. So it's a big watch, but again, if you're invested in the Google ecosystem with an Android phone and you want an Android watch and all of the above, this is probably stacking up to be your best bet. We'll have the full review out hopefully soon as I get better. Someone's asking here, or someone, David Hoover just said, thanks for the videos, watch them all the time, good stuff. Hey, thanks. I know that like the frequency of our videos have only been maybe like 1 or even 2 videos a month. That's been a little bit intentional on my part. I just couldn't keep up the pace of doing a video every single week, and also have a personal life, and also have my day job, and then have free time, to spend with my family and friends. And so it was just kind of this juggling act that I did for a while, and it was just wearing me out. So we've just kind of decided that, hey, when we review a product, we're going to give it 2-3 weeks to really dive in on the product instead of rushing through it and trying to rush a review. We want to do a good job with it. And so that's kind of what the approach that we've been doing lately. So that's kind of the update on the Suunto 7. It looks like it's going to be a great review. It's been one of the most exciting or fun products for us to take a look at in the last, that we've reviewed in the last, I don't know, 6 months or so. So I'm really excited to. I haven't actually had a hands-on with it yet. It's all been Don at this point doing his cardio stuff. So I'm, if Don's watching or if he sees this at some point, make sure to thank Don. He does all the cardio stuff for me now because it's hard for me to. I'm just lazy. I don't like to run. I would much rather hop in the gym and bench press and do some curls and dips and things like that. Don is great at just putting this on and then going for several miles without complaining. It was funny today. He was like, "Oh yeah, I've only taken it through several short runs, 45 minutes a piece," and I'm like, those ain't short runs for me. Like for me, a short run is like 15 minutes. My long run is 45 minutes. So it's nice to have a guy that, the short run is 45 minutes and he's reviewing it and doing it justice. And so I'm excited to kind of share with you his perspective as well on that. So that's the Suunto 7. Martin is asking, buy it. It's a mixed bag. And keep in mind that we've only done the cardio portions up to this point. We haven't reviewed it in the gym at all. So if you're heavy into the gym stuff, weightlifting stuff, I would say hold on to our review because I don't know yet. In terms of cardio stuff, I would say if you're really invested into the Android ecosystem and you want a smartwatch experience, like a full smartwatch experience, not kind of what Garmin's doing or what Fitbit has done, but you want a real smartwatch experience and you want something that's really accurate in terms of GPS and heart rate tracking, then yeah, definitely go buy it. That being said, I'm not a big fan of Wear OS. I think that my personal opinion is that Suunto should have maybe spent a little bit more time just coming up with their own kind of proprietary smartwatch OS, similar to what Garmin has done, similar to what Polar has done, similar to what Fitbit has done. They've all kind of rejected Wear OS as a smartwatch platform and kind of come up with their own versions. That being said, I do think it's the best up to this point, at least in the review, right? I think it's the best Wear OS fitness tracking watch that I've ever, laid hands on and played around with. So there's definitely that. And I think in no small part, it's because Suunto's application is great. Their software integration with Wear OS is great. So they did a really good job. If you're gonna, buy a watch that's Wear OS that tracks any sort of fitness tracking stuff, the Suunto 7, this guy right here is the one to buy. And it's a quality design too. I've reviewed some kind of cheaper, TicWatch in the past, watches that, have built-in heart rate sensors and GPS, but the build quality is just not quite there. The build quality on this watch is definitely there. It's got a fantastic screen, very bright, high resolution, very crisp. The speed of the touch, sensitivity is definitely there. You're not going to get like a laggy experience like you might get from a cheaper Android Wear watch. So it's definitely a premium Android Wear or Wear OS experience. So I would recommend it and say, definitely go buy it. Has Google come out with a watch yet? To my understanding, nothing like Google branded. I mean, other than the OS. So, and if Google was to come out with something, I would have a hard time believing that it would be as exercise centric and focused as the Suunto 7. Suunto is clearly a company out there that cares about accurate GPS, accurate heart rate data, and they're going to calibrate and kind of design the watch to be focused on those elements as opposed to what Google might do with theirs. They might be a little bit less focused on the fitness elements and a little bit more focused on the smartwatch experience, if that makes sense. And so they haven't that I'm aware of, but this is definitely the watch to buy if you're someone who wants a Wear OS smartwatch but also wants an accurate GPS watch as well. This would be the one. Now again, haven't reviewed it in the gym yet. That's to come when I get a little bit healthier here. When my sick ass gets better, then I'll review that and give you guys a more comprehensive answer to all of that. So Ben Smith is asking, what's my favorite smartwatch? That's going to be after the update, the most recent updates. I would say it's what I'm wearing on my wrist right now, which is the Apple Watch Series 5. It's definitely my favorite smartwatch. Definitely only makes sense if you're invested in the Apple ecosystem, though. If I wasn't invested in the Apple ecosystem, I would probably not really be wearing a smartwatch at all. I'd probably be wearing the Garmin Vivoactive. Gosh, what are we on now? The 4, the 5? I'm sick brain here, so apologize. But the most recent Vivoactive watch from Garmin would probably be what I was wearing if I wasn't wearing the Apple Watch Series 5. So I want to talk about a couple of other things. Yeah, somebody's asking about battery life on the Suunto 7. What we're getting with regular use, especially when you're using GPS, we're getting about a day's worth of life with about 30% left at the end of the day. So not the 2 days that Suunto is claiming. You might be able to get 2 days if you, really minimized all battery consumption. You might be able to get 2 days, but it's really on par with any other smartwatch out there, which is just expect to charge it on the daily. So there's that. Okay, a couple of updates on this guy right here, the Skydio, for those of you that might be tuning in about this drone. Cool drone. I bought this drone specifically because it's got the autonomous features and it does great at obstacle avoidance. And I wanted to use this to shoot a lot of our B-roll footage. Literally about an hour ago, Don and I were out and I was trying to shoot some B-roll footage for the Suunto 7 review, which we're putting together. And this guy right here was not operating. It's shooting me a V17 camera error. And in my quick little bit of investigating online, it looks like it could be potentially a fatal error with this front camera. So the rest of the drone flies, it navigates as normal, but this guy right here literally just doesn't record anything at all right now. So we're investigating that a little bit more. I've reached out to Suunto to see if they can help me with that. But based on what I've seen on a couple of other users, the V17 is a fatal error. And fortunately, Skydio is doing a good job about replacing drones that are having that error. So I might end up with a replacement Skydio drone based on the V17 error coming from that drone. I got some other questions in here. Stevie Richards, good to see. Stevie Richards is a good YouTube buddy of mine. You should definitely check out his channel. So yeah, Stevie, if you just hop on YouTube and type in Stevie Richards, you'll find the Stevie Richards Fitness. Should definitely check out his stuff. So good dude, solid YouTuber, really humble guy, and a guy who kind of has mentored me in many regards as I've kind of came into the YouTube space. So check him out. Stevie Richards is saying he's still researching his next drone. I'm with you on that. I'm not completely, even though I bought this drone with a specific purpose in mind, I'm not completely sold on it yet for a couple of reasons. One, the range on this has just been absolutely abysmal. It's been terrible. Part of it is because the controller that it comes with is basically nothing more than a Parrot Anafi. Is it a Parrot Anafi? I think it's the Parrot Anafi. Or maybe anyways, it's a rebranded Parrot controller that Skydio bought into, and it's cheap and it doesn't feel like a quality device. And I haven't been able to get really more than about half a mile away with this drone before I start to get an automatic return to home because it lost connectivity. So not completely sold on this for what typical drone users would maybe look for. But in terms of autonomous features, it's unreal. I've used this for autonomous tracking. And the obstacle avoidance and autonomous tracking on this is just unreal. So if that's what you're after, then this is the drone to get. If you're after more of like that cinematic drone, similar to what DJI has always produced, then DJI is producing some good drones. The new Autel Evo 2, the 8K camera, I think is what it is. That looks phenomenal. That looks really good. There's been some other drones on the market that I've had my eye on as well. But in any case, yeah, getting a fatal camera error on this already after maybe 3 hours worth of flight time so far. So I'm a little bit disappointed in that. And we'll see how I'll update you guys as Skydio, handles this case, if they replace the drone, if they come up with a fix or whatever. So, let's see here. Any other comments? Well, I'll get to some comments here in a second, but let me just real quick kind of pitch Polar, because they did something recently, for me at least, that says a lot about the company. So just a couple of days ago, it was literally like, I think 2 or 3 days ago, a Polar representative reaches out to me and says, "Hey, Eric, we love your channel. We've had our eye on it for quite some time. We would love to work with you moving forward. We see the value of channels like yours in, kind of getting our products out there into the public eye. Would you be interested in reviewing our products going forward?" And I'm kind of like, well, I'm interested. I mean, I've already reviewed your products in the past, so let's talk a little bit. So my thinking was that, like, kind of Polar was wanting to strike a deal, right? Where it's like, hey, we'll send you free product, but it's contingent upon you giving us good reviews. And the reason why I thought they might do that is because my last review of the last Polar product I reviewed, it was kind of a mixed bag, and I did not give them, quite positive remarks. And so I brought that up, and I was like, hey, let me just be straightforward with you. I've reviewed your products in the past and given it great reviews. And I've also reviewed it in the recent, past, some products that I didn't give good reviews on. Is this work relationship contingent upon me giving you guys only positive marks? And the representative was like, no. That's not what we're trying to do at all. As a matter of fact, we want you to be able to say pretty much whatever you want to say. If anything, we just want to be a resource. So if you do have some concerns or you do have some problems that come up, we want to be able to answer your questions and concerns, and help you through that process. But ultimately, what you say is yours to say, and none of, our relationship is contingent upon, you giving us a positive spin to our products. So that, to me, really said a lot about Polar, that they believe enough in their products to be able to reach out to a content creator like me and to be able to say, hey, we want to give you all of our products moving forward, and it's not contingent upon a positive review. That says a lot to me about the brand. So in any case, they went ahead and they sent me some heart rate sensors. So I reviewed this one in the past, the OH1 Plus, and I do think it's, one of the better armband products compared to my old Scosche Rhythm Plus, I think, that I have that eventually has died on my shelf right behind the camera here. So this product is a great, like, armband, external heart rate sensor that has both Bluetooth and ANT plus in terms of, what it's sending out. So basically pairs with any watch that accepts any kind of external heart rate sensor because it's Bluetooth and ANT plus. They also sent me the H9. Which I gave to Don, who, is kind of my partner here on the channel. And so he's going to be taking a look at that. And then they also sent me the H10, which I've never reviewed. So, so I'm looking forward to kind of using these products in conjunction with other fitness trackers as I review them. So we'll actually be testing, some of the Polar connectivity of the H10 and the OH1 with the Suunto 7. So, to see if our results are better, if they're different, how well these kind of talk to each other. So that'll be kind of interesting because these are kind of industry standard in terms of, external heart rate sensors. Polar kind of has the market cornered in terms of them being the best. And so it'll be interesting to see how well this does with this watch, and I'll be sure to include that. Okay, let's get to some questions. So, Stevie Richards saying, sorry, again, I'm sick if you're just coming into the channel. So, excuse me very much. So Stevie Richards saying his DJI just stopped working one day, no help from them. Yeah, there's been kind of a weird, DJI has had kind of a weird relationship as of late with a lot of their users. I got frustrated, honestly, with DJI because it felt like every single where that I went, I was in some sort of no-fly zone. And sometimes it wasn't that I was actually in a no-fly zone. I was just in some sort of, cautionary airspace. And the reason I know that is because I've recently went out and I got my 107, my Part 107 license to fly drones commercially, because I do it for work, not just YouTube. I do it for work. I fly drones commercially. And so I was getting constantly bombarded with these warnings and stuff, these groundings from DJI on, you can't fly in this airspace. I'd pull out my application and pull up what the actual airspace was. And it's like, no, I can fly. It's just I have to fly under a certain, altitude or whatever, and that's fine. And so I've been really frustrated with using DJI drones, and I've owned half a dozen of them over the last few years. And I've literally sold all of them now because I've been so frustrated with just constant updates, and the updates take forever. I've gotten to shoots where I was getting ready to shoot, and then there was like some sort of mandatory push out update that was going to take 30 minutes on the drone, and I needed to shoot right then and there, and I couldn't. I was grounded. My drone was grounded. And so I just got kind of tired of that bullshit and decided, you know what? It's time to jump off the DJI train, and I'm going to go to Autel, or I'm going to go to, in this case, I went with, with Skydio. And so I just decided that I was kind of done with the shenanigans that DJI was pulling. And I'm kind of glad that I did jump over to Skydio, because even though I am experiencing an issue with the camera, as I mentioned earlier, Skydio is stacking up to be a company that's servicing their drones well. Just about anybody who's had any real issues with their drone is getting really good support from Skydio. There's another YouTube channel. I forget what the name of it is. I subscribe to it, but the guy was just having his drone kind of fly in an autonomous way, and his drone just kind of dive bombed straight into some water. So he contacted Skydio, didn't tell him he was a YouTuber, didn't try to throw his weight around or influence around at all. And they were like, hey, yeah, we're reviewing that footage. We can see here that was definitely our fault. We're going to send a replacement to you. So that says a lot. I appreciate that from Skydio. And then the Skydio drone, another one of the great things about this drone is, as of right now, they haven't put in all of this, that no-fly zone geofencing that DJI has done. So I really can't say enough good about this drone, even though I am experiencing what could be a fatal flaw on this front-facing camera here. I can't say enough good about this, because it's been a great drone while it's worked, and so far my experience with their customer service and with everybody there has been stellar. So yeah, check out my Skydio videos if you haven't already. Someone else saying here, looking forward to your Suunto 7 review. Awesome. So am I. I'm looking forward to diving into that. People in my area hate drones. Most parks and open space preserves do not allow them. Yeah, a lot of well, it depends where you're at, but some places like New York City, I like to visit New York City about once a year. Me and my wife just kind of get away and go to New York City for a few days just to kind of have some fun. And so I was like looking for a spot in New York City to fly, and basically you couldn't fly anywhere, even in Central Park. I was grounded. Or if you did take off and get caught, you could like go to prison for it. Like it was a felony offense, to fly a drone in Manhattan. And like the closest area that we could fly was some small little park in Brooklyn, where you didn't really have a very scenic view of anything, of the city. And so it was just kind of like, well, what's the point, And so, yeah, it's getting more restrictive for sure. I can see some of the logic behind it. Like, I totally understand. You probably don't want people flying drones around Manhattan. It's like one of the most heavily, populated density areas in America. And, you probably, I won't go into it, but there's a lot of things that people could do with drones if they were just allowed to have free reign flying around. So I can understand some of those rules. And at the same time, I live in Ohio, where there's a ton of wide open space, and half of the state is just nothing but trees. And so I've been really frustrated when I'm 5 miles away from or 4.5 miles away from some little podunk airport, little strip that's 4.5 miles away, and DJI grounds me because I'm not outside of that 5 mile threshold or whatever, and I'm not able to fly my drone, in a park out in the middle of nowhere, because there's one little tiny airstrip 4.5 miles away, and DJI wants to ground me. So I've just been really frustrated with DJI with some of that stuff, and so I'm kind of done with them. But yeah, getting back to the Suunto 7, if you're still hanging in there for that, this review, I'm hoping to start working out with it here in the next couple of days, and have a review for you guys maybe next weekend. That might be pushing it for my health, because I'm still getting better after 8 days of being pretty bad sick. I'm going to start working out, even if I'm starting to feel just well enough to begin working out again. But I want to still put this through several workouts before I kind of turn over a final video or product to you guys, if that makes sense. So that's about it. Just wanted to touch base with you guys about that. Polar is a great company, so thanks to Polar for sending me out those free products and not putting any strings attached to it. That's really big of them. A lot of companies don't do that. I've specifically had other companies reach out to me and say, we'll send you products, but this is what you got to say, essentially. And I've had to say, no, thank you. I'll just go ahead and buy the product myself. And then if it's good, I'll say it. And if it's bad, I'll say it. But Polar didn't do that. Polar just said, here's our products for free. We'll send these to you. And you're welcome to, basically give us a fair review in your own words, and we're not going to put words in your mouth. And so that was really big of them and impressive of them. I think they're a fantastic company, and I think that they make fantastic heart rate sensors, beyond anything else. And so that's why I was pretty excited that they sent me these that I'll be able to use then with my future reviews here on the channel. So keep a lookout for, for this stuff here coming soon as well. And then, yeah, my Skydio 2 update. So, hopefully I'll have that drone back in the air with the camera issue fixed. Yeah, thanks, Stevie. I know, Stevie, it's funny. Stevie Richards a couple weeks ago had a pretty substantial injury on his bicep on his arm. And it was, sitting back kind of watching that as a YouTuber who's also in this like health and fitness space. Your health is huge. It's like, this isn't really my day job, but this certainly isn't nothing. Like YouTube does provide a little bit of an income to me. And so if I was to get sick or injured and have to say goodbye to YouTube, there would be, of course, the income wouldn't be there, but even more than that, kind of the emotional aspect of it all, of not being able to do something that I did before, would be really hard. And so, Stevie injured his arm and was kind of facing that possibility, that reality. And I could kind of sense some of that emotion like coming out in some of his videos. And I could appreciate that, And then I immediately get sick right after that here. And I'm going on 8 days now of being sick. And I spent like the first 3 days just in bed. And understanding that, of like the frustration of it, of not being able to do what you want to do. And man, we take our health for granted. So don't take your health for granted. It can be taken away from you like that. It can just go with the craziest things, It's funny that Stevie Richards had that bicep injury. My dad tore his bicep, and he was, leaning out of a golf cart to pick up a golf ball. And, as he's leaning out, and my dad's a powerful guy. Like my dad is shorter than I am, but has always been pretty much just as strong as me. And his bicep just went. And so we take our health for granted. At any given moment, our health could just go. And so in watching Stevie's videos, it's made one of the things that's made me realize is to be thankful for my health, to be thankful for this channel, to be thankful for you guys that are patient with videos, that aren't, yelling at me or getting upset, that I'm not pumping out a video every week, that I can just kind of pace myself, have a healthy pace with my videos, and for my mental sanity and all of that too. And so, yeah, I'm just, thankful for that. Hope you guys are thankful for your health as well. And so, yeah, back at you, Stevie. Hope you get better too. Hope your arm continues to heal. And that's about it, guys. I'm going on 30 minutes here now of kind of rambling. Just wanted to chit chat with you guys since I hadn't done that here in a while. Last question here I'll answer real quick is someone's at Mava TX is asking if this watch is made in Finland or assembled in Finland. It says on the back of the watch, and you probably won't be able to see this. The camera's not going to focus. But on the bottom, it says that it's designed in Finland, but made in China. So Polar is, a Finnish company. So, they're based out of Finland, but it is manufactured in China, like just about everything else that we throw on our wrist these days, right? So, nope, not made in Finland, not made in the US, made in China, just like everything else. So hopefully that answers your questions. Hey guys, thanks for watching. My name is Eric and I'm the Techie Agent. I'll be with you guys here soon with that Suunto 7 review. Thanks for watching. Catch you later.